Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kyle, and as you can see behind me, we have now gotten to the last bay of trusses on this 304-foot long building. We wrapped up 4 bays this morning, but before we can do our end bay, and really the meat and potatoes of this build video today is gonna be about what we have to do to make this as good as possible. And what I'm saying is, we've noticed as we've been building, we've had to make minor corrections because of the growth that has occurred in the wall. So before we go ahead and build this end wall here and put this last bay of trusses on, what we're gonna have to do is double check some things and make sure that we stay plumb on all of our walls and try to stay dimensionally accurate. So let's get into it. So before we can worry about this end column down here, what we need to do is remember the center wall had a center doorway in it. That center doorway is where we're going to hopefully make up any of our air during install with the growing of the building. So the far end, we have already plumbed up. We're gonna double check it, but we've already plumbed it up. We've put chains on it. We've locked it down. And this opening is just temporarily secured. In fact, I don't even think it is all the way secured. Maybe it is.
No, it is. It's got screws on it.
We did screw it?
Yeah.
We're going to check this side and make it plumb. What that means is we'll undo these connections. We will push and pull it so that it stays right where we want it. That will then ensure that this section to this side, those are locked in, that's where they're gonna be. But now, this whole side needs to be plumbed up. We'll have to get our end column on, plumb it up, lock it down with chains, and then come all the way back here after we already disconnected these girts, and we'll connect it wherever it is using our laser to make sure that these jambs are as plumb as possible. So what that's gonna allow us to do, obviously, is make sure that everything on the outsides is plumb, and then all of our problems, wherever there's growth on the wall, wherever maybe one girt line grew a little bit more than another one, all that inconsistency can be made up right here. Is it perfect? No, but there's no other way really around it that I know. So let's get into it. Let's get this first column set, plumb, locked in, and framed. So it did grow a little. What would you say on that level there if I were to hold this up?
Probably 3/4.
Maybe not that much, but yeah, maybe 1/2 inch or 5/8. So let's go ahead and, just for safety's sake, I'm gonna run down there. You wanna get these unscrewed?
Yep.
Because we just screwed them, and I'm gonna double check this end post to be plumb. Booyah to the grandma. The peak might have to be handled separately, Greg. All right, so now that we have the other end plumbed up, we come back here to this jamb column, and we are about 1/4 inch. If you were to look up there, I'm about 1/4 inch off the post. So let's go ahead, Greg, and do we want to laser this or no? We don't need to laser this.
I mean, I would be consistent with the level because you leveled that side, so just level this guy.
I'm saying like, yeah, let's just straighten it out with this guy and kind of go from there. The only problem is it's going to be hard to know how much to push and pull, you know? But we're not jam wrapping this, so we just want it as good as possible.
We could always just...
Here, how about this? Can you go up there on this side right here? Unscrew this, put a hammer, and I can pull this to where I want it?
Sure.
Because I'm gonna need one right here. Oh man, you're gonna really...
Okay, you ready?
All right, look good on that line. So now we can take it up and do the next one's from that point, and it should be what we're gonna call good enough for the girls we run with. That's about all I'm gonna get, man. I just got you like another inch. Oh, dude, I'm good with that. And it brought the middle pretty much good, so we're...
Looks good down.
Yeah, there we go. That is the first hurdle, is to get that jamb plumbed up. Now we need to go do... Hello? We need to go do our end column, get it framed in. We'll make sure that's plumb, and then come back here and then take out any of our issues on this other side of the jamb. Actually, this might not be too bad, but that's actually not all we have to do, because since we're knowing that this whole wall grew, that wall grew, really the only consistency that we have is when we're doing our purlins and we're putting the lap lines lined up. That's gonna be a lot less chance for growth, but we will also check for that error when we get to that last truss bay, and that'll be up in the purlins. So we'll get to that in a little bit. So heel, Okay. Okay, whatever way you want to roll it, and then we'll...
You know, we probably should add some blocks to the sides of this.
There we go. No, I wanted to go in at an angle, get more...
Oh my gosh.
I want to get more holding power.
Jeez. Man,
You know what I'm saying?
I remember when I was a rookie and couldn't hit the nail. Way to redeem yourself.
Thank you.
Cole said I was doing too much.
Well,
You were at first, and then he hit it.
you listen to me, okay? Okay, so this is plumb. Greg, look how close we are.
I know. I was just looking at that.
That's actually pretty awesome.
That's a good sign.
You're perfect here. I mean, you're literally almost perfect.
Yeah, just about.
So here's what I want to do. Okay, I want to go in just a hair. So you get a screw ready, and we'll cut off the excess, okay?
Okay.
So now that we have this post up, we're going to get it plumb and connected to this wall. But Greg, why don't we push and pull it exact here, and then we'll cut off there? Because there's a good chance.
Well, over there we're not cutting off.
Yeah,
the
we're
only,
not
the, only thing, the only thing we're cutting off is the.
Stuff that goes into the jam.
There is going to be 0 in the jam because we're centered.
You're right. So let's make this perfect. Sorry, I couldn't see you. I didn't know where I was going. So let's make this. Let's just connect these, and then we'll plumb it up. More.
More.
More, Kobe Bryant.
More. How much more?
Give me another bite.
Oh boy.
Eve.
Oh my gosh. Careful on that one.
So we got this corner, or I guess it's actually an end. It's kind of in the middle of the building, but it is an end corner post. We got that secured, we got it plumbed, and it took quite a bit. So I'm anxious to go back over here and see how far off now our jam is. That's the last thing we got to do before we finish this bay, is get that all locked in, and then we'll be on to our last truss bay, which is going to be fun. We're going to have a little bit of work there too.
What's that saying?
89.8. Problem is I got this stupid joint. See how it's like out there? I mean, this is pretty good to here. I'm just looking to change this middle. Yeah. I mean, but that's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
That's plumbed. How did that? Oh, I guess it worked because we plumbed this side. This side was all, this is all connected. And then we just plumb that side, and we're just going to fasten.
The inconsistencies are right here on this joint.
Yep. So you need to come out.
We need a block.
We need a block. Cole, I'm going to have to move you on the outside, right there. Yep, just like that, buddy. And then just keep that there.
Okay.
I'm going to say that's good.
Hit that.
Don't let go. Don't let go even when I'm done. Don't let go. Don't let go. All right, let go. Nice.
Your handle's sticky.
You like that?
Why is it sticky?
So I don't ever lose grip. I put a little bit of stickum on there.
Oh.
We've got one more trick I want to show you, and it's one of the things that I think a lot of people do when they can't build well, but we have to do it because we just built a quarter of a mile long, and we need to make sure things are great before we get to this very last end. So let's go down there and we'll show you what we're doing. All right, so this truss is gonna go up like normal. We just gotta get it up there, but the real tricks will come in when we get to our purlins. We'll have to kind of reestablish ourselves a good line to make sure that the last bay is nice and straight, because see, we started 300 feet down there. We straightened it with those LVLs. We plumbed everything up, but as we come all the way across here, we've already done some kind of manipulating in the walls to make sure that they didn't get too long and grow, but you know, by the time we got to the end. And now we need to do it on our trusses, and we're gonna do that up there with our purlins. boy. No, Greg, go below it.
What?
Go below it. Let's shift your weight that way.
Yeah. Can we go the other side of that upright?
Yep. Actually, you could probably crab crawl right out of it, dude.
I bet you I'll be able to make it out.
Hey, just boom it and crab crawl out of it. This is why straps would have been quicker. I could probably move the Magni about as fast as this is gonna take. Roll your forks. Down.
Down?
Yeah. Roll them. Here's what I'd recommend. Let's get the top centered and the bottom centered. Don't worry about the middle. All right, so now that we've got all those details kind of figured out, got everything plumbed up where we wanted it to, we still probably have an issue, and I don't know, we're gonna see what happens, but what we do normally is we join all those overlap joints by lining up our lines on our purlins, and then the very last truss, we're gonna have a line that is supposed to line up with the outside of my truss. So we're gonna see how close it is, but do the little trick I was talking about, but we'll see how close we are. On top of the line, big dog. So go ahead and take it where you want it, Greg. It's way out. It's way out. This is way out right now. Okay, so there's my line. That truss is supposed to be right here. So I could take it here, nail it, and I might do that yet because we don't know exactly when we plumb this end up, wherever that plumb point is, we're gonna put this here like so. I'm gonna plumb it and I'm gonna say, nail it, Greg. And wherever he's at, it doesn't matter if it's on his line or not, we're gonna nail it. And the reason is because we've gone 18 bays of purlins. There is, just like on the wall, a chance for air accumulating as we come this way. Think about even a 32nd. If we're off a 32nd on each one times 18, that's over a ½ inch off. So that could be our air, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna say, that's plumb, this is plumb, this mark is where I want it, and we're gonna nail it. And then I'll show you what we do next to ensure that the rest of this truss then is perfectly straight. Man, that's really freaking good. Nice job. 60 penny, boys. Hit me with a 60. Cole? What the?
Yeah, he's got some weird throws, I'm telling you.
So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set this purlin right where it's supposed to be. We're not gonna change anything here because this dimension is purposeful and necessary. Cole, that swing's actually really nice. I like this new grip. Huh. So now what we're going to do is I'm just gonna eyeball this, okay? And that is because my eyeball at 30 some feet is gonna be able to see if things are not straight. We've already plumbed this wall with the big plate level. I'm gonna say right about, I'd hit that.
You sure?
How far off?
About a solid inch more, maybe.
Well,
You mean put it where I think it, where the line is?
well, I'm telling you, this is straight with this post. Want me to put the level on it?
I would.
All right. Yeah, so Greg doesn't trust my eye. That's perfectly plumb, Greg.
All right. You like it then?
Yeah, I love it. We're about an inch long. So what that just showed is that by doing our overlapping purlin with the line that lined up to the last one so that you were always lining up and then going another 16 feet, lining up, going another 16 feet versus our girts, which are butt end to end, that had an inch of growth on 304 feet. The purlins were not. So that's why we had to extend the purlins 1 inch. Problem is all those marks, they don't line up with our inch problem, right? So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go over here and help them, and we're gonna establish a new line that's gonna give us a straight line here, because we've already plumbed up our corners everywhere now, and we just need to make sure that our fascia line is gonna be perfectly straight. So I'm just gonna go down there, or what do you want me to do? We know the bottom is plumb, it's where it's at, we're not changing it. We know the spacing between this and our last truss is gonna be 16 foot because we're into the last bay now. So what we're gonna do is these lines that are on the top of our purlin, they're indicating where we're gonna line up our last purlin, but now we know they're off because up at the very top, we were an inch different. The bottom is exact. So we're just gonna connect the dots, and this new chalk line that we're gonna establish on the top of these purlins is gonna be where we will nail the lap that's coming from the end. That'll ensure that our fascia is gonna be as straight as this chalk line is, and it should maintain that being plumb, this corner being plumb, and hopefully we'll be all good.
Question, not on that
Just
line.
take your square and go right up it like I did. All right, I love you all.
You used to think you're crazy.
All right. So we're gonna pull this line through the line that's on the top of this first purlin that we laid down on the top. And this is gonna indicate exactly where the rest of our purlins will go.
Coming up to that, the triple.
That's Tajima, it'll be fine.
You just dropped my chalk.
100% I did.
Why?
Because my safety meant more to me than that chalk box did. So what's kind of funny is that these are behind a little bit, but that's probably because this is growing a little bit. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which does kind of make sense. So now that we've got this, we'll go back, start at the top, and we'll work all these purlins down, and we'll show you how this kind of looks from the top side, and it'll make a little bit more sense. So come in here and take a look at this. So we've got our line on our 20-foot purlin that's making our overhang, this last bay. We've got the mark that Greg, Greg did this, nailed through to line up with this truss, but you see our new snap line. The new snap line indicates where the top was plumbed and perfect down to the bottom. So even though it's about an inch off, we're gonna line up the new purlin to the snap line. And typically, you would do this if maybe you didn't do a good job throughout the building and you want to straighten everything out before the end. But it's kind of a necessity when you're doing something this big and expansive. You can't control the perfection. You can start as good as possible. You can do, aim small, miss small. Do your best. And then we're off an inch on 300 feet. So we'll straighten it, and that could be, Greg, that could be the difference in your eyeball on a 12-foot plate level on a 34-foot post. So if we're off just this much on our plate level, it could be that far off. I mean, it's an inch, dude. It's not a big deal. The big point is this fix is a great way to straighten out the end. We got those LVLs way down there. We use those to straighten that end. We came all the way to this end, and then boom, snap a new line, and you're good to go. We'll go ahead and get these all ran out, and then we'll have this whole side done. All right, guys, that's it. I didn't think we were gonna make it, but this entire 304-foot long building has a set of trusses down the 1/2. So it took us probably 4.5 days, I think, My guess is when we get to the other side, we're gonna do it a lot faster. But now what we're gonna do for the rest of this video is finish up our overhang tails and fascia. You can see we've got some way down here. And when we get to this end, we will be ready for roof metal. Well, at least straightening. So let's go ahead and let's run this into tomorrow where we'll finish up this soffit fascia overhang detail and move into prep for metal roof. All right, guys, so now that we got all those trusses on, we got to do our overhangs in preparation for roof metal, and there's a couple different steps. So first thing we need to do is we already know that there's one more purlin that's going to go on top of our tails. So we're going to go ahead and set that up there and get it up there out of the way. So I'm going to give it to Greg one end. Okay, and then we've got our tails, and I always get the question, so I always feel like I need to at least address it. Why don't you put your tails on the trusses right from the truss manufacturer? And I don't know, I feel like it's a confusing answer, but really I think it's also quite simple. If we put a tail on our truss, this is not a stick frame building where you straighten your walls, secure them, sheathe them, get ready for a roof, and then you set all your trusses on your top plate to a string line and it's perfectly straight. You cut your tails and you're done. No, no, no. We have to stand our walls, set our trusses, and then we straighten the wall with a string line. Then we can put our tails on. Or I take that back, sorry. We put our tails on and we straighten the wall to the tail. So we're actually going to set these and go 2 foot versus in a lot of stick frame, you would just measure end to end 2 foot and cut a straight line. There's too much movement up here. We can't really do that until we lock the building down, and that's just the process. So we're gonna put these tails on. I'm gonna measure 2 foot. And when we're measuring that, we're actually measuring, because this is gonna get a sub fascia, I'm actually measuring it from back here at the post. So my finished wall is actually here, and I'm gonna have a sub fascia. So if I measure 2 foot, by the time I come out to my finished wall and add sub fascia, it'll be a 2 foot overhang. Right there. And we're gonna use 60 penny nails, big old ring shankers, same nails as our purlins. Now that we have this, we can butt our last purlin right down to it. And the reason we do this, it's an odd bay, but every purlin's 2 foot until here. We have our tail that we can't change. We have we call them our bevel boards. They go right against the post, and you'll see that in a second. And then you have this odd bay here between the last 2 foot on center purlin from the top and this bevel board. So we just end up throwing our last purlin right above that tail, and that's just always there, and it's a little bit of an odd bay, but it works out pretty good. So while Greg's getting that going, another thing that we will do often, especially on these bigger builds, 2 foot overhangs, is we'll just throw another screw through just to give ourselves a little bit extra uplift. But these ain't going, they're not going anywhere. So now that we got our tails on, we still have our bevel board, but we like to put our fascia board on next. So we cut this down to 16. We got a center mark, and we're going to use our GRKs. Screw this all in. Up a little bit, down. We're just going to make sure it plumbs into our fascia. Sometimes we got to move them a little bit because wood is not ever perfectly straight. But since we know we're always building at 8 foot on center, that's where we're going to put it. How's this one? This one looks a little low, huh?
A little low and a little...
I can see that though. It's in that's in the post actually. Okay, I'd say that's pretty good there, buddy. Let me get a screw started.
This part was pretty tough by myself.
Oh, I bet. I can see that. It's a good thing you got me here. Okay, so now that that's on, we will do our bevel board. That sometimes we bevel when we're really feeling saucy, but Greg made these all up, and he wasn't feeling saucy that day. He just didn't bevel them. And I would agree that there's too many on this to bevel. We would be here all day beveling for really no purpose. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Just brought that column over a little bit. Okay, so that is basically framing our overhangs, getting ready for the roof steel, and going back to the straightening side. And you'll see this in the roof video. Now that this is up, this wall is not straight. We know our fascia is doing this. These tails are in and out from each other because they're only as straight as the post was that we installed from the ground with our plate level back at the wall framing stage. So now, when we get all these up and we get to roofing, we will actually straighten based off of this tail mark right here, based off the measurement to this post. So we know if we string line off of this tail, all the tails should be straight. In essence, the roof will be straight, and then all we have to do is worry about this inconsistency throughout the post. So that'll all come in the roofing video. If you're confused how that all works, we just know we can't put our tails on the trusses effectively on these big buildings from the manufacturer. We got to do it in the field. Tells me this is going to be loose, and it's not.
Better than good.
Okay, there is our last fascia board. 18-footer gives us our 2-foot overhang. And what do you need? You can do them purlin? How close is it? You don't know yet.
I don't know yet. I mean, you got to check over there before I probably nail this. I'm gonna put it on the
No,
truss.
you're gonna nail it regardless.
Yeah, that's true.
And then we'll just kind of fix it. See, we've been trying to line up all of our lines on our purlins this whole job, but as we come down to the bottom, kind of everything comes together, and this is where rubber hits the road. And if it's not perfect, we got to try to make it perfect, or maybe fudge it an 1/8 inch or so here. But it's looking like we're pretty close to the center of this, so we'll see. We'll get Greg nailed in. Where's my nail gun? Last in-betweeners. This is a star bay. Greg gave me the star because this is unique. It's got a different spacing.
Special.
Ooh, that's tight though. That's good. There we go. We are ready for roof now on this side. We got all of our tails, our overhangs done. We could even put soffit and fascia on if we wanted to, but really the biggest priority for us is to get roof on this big building. The more material up in the air without a skin, think of a skeleton on a body, you can prop it up, but there's really nothing to hold it together unless you have your skin. Well, for us, it's our steel, our metal. That gives us our diaphragm, shear strength, and the roof is where we start. It's not typical to stick frame. You're gonna put your walls on and then do the roof all later, but for us, it's all in the roof. So we're gonna brace this down, we're gonna chain it down, and then we're gonna start doing roof. That's gonna be the next video, guys. So definitely, if you want to, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Maybe you like these sweet Sashko hats Greg and I are rocking. Definitely keeping the sun off because my wife is pissed at me I don't put sunblock on.
I haven't put sunblock on at all this year.
No, me neither. And yeah, I'm a little burnt in some places, but this I think is the ticket. So thank you, Sashko, for doing this. And hey, if you want to get a link to a Sashko product, maybe a free delivery of all their products, maybe I'll throw that in this video. Doesn't matter to me. I don't make no money off of it, but they did give me a link to give you guys so you can try their products. We like them. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. We'll see you guys back here on the next video where we will start the long, long journey of putting metal on this 304-foot long building. Catch you guys later.